All right, in the media center at this time, we're joined by the driver of the number 88 Nationwide Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and also Martinsville Speedway track president Clay Campbell. At this time, I'll turn it over to Clay.
Thank you. All right, thanks, Brooks. Welcome to Martinsville Speedway for the first day to 500. It's an exciting time for us, and we're getting ready to announce something that's very exciting and dear to our heart. As we started thinking about Dale and your last race here, we tried to think of something that is meaningful, that will last a long time, that's beneficial, and one thing came to mind. We have a wonderful community college here in town, Patrick Henry Community College. It has an awesome motorsports program. They have graduates from the program that are into the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series, the Cup Series, as well as NASCAR officials. So it's a wonderful program, and I think probably by now you're starting to connect the dots. But I also have Dr. Angeline Godwin, the president of PHCC, Gary Collins, who is on the Patrick Henry Community College Foundation, and Greg Hodges, Vice President of Academic Affairs. So at this point, where's the check? Right behind us. We would like to present a check to Patrick Henry Community College, the Dale Earnhardt Honorary Foundation, Dale Earnhardt Honorary Scholarship for $10,000. I will let Dr. Godwin say a few words, and Dale, but this is going to go to someone that's going to make a difference in their life. To have Dale Earnhardt, your honorary scholarship at Patrick Henry is going to be awesome, and we're just proud to be able to do that. And at this point, Dale, I'll let you say something first.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's a great idea for something that'll make an impact in the community and give somebody an opportunity. And I hope that they take that opportunity and use it well. And I know you guys will give them the chance to do so, give them the tools and the environment to do so. So thanks so much for everything you've done for my family, for everything that you've meant to this racetrack. And this place is very special to me. And we love coming here and being a part of everything that you have going on every weekend, and you do such an amazing job and have for so long. So thank you for that, and certainly nice to meet you folks, and I'm thrilled to be a small part of this, and appreciate the Speedway for their efforts to make it happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Dr. Godwin?
This is a wonderful day for the entire community and for Martinsville Speedway to really have the vision to continue your legacy forever. You know you're loved, you're beloved in this community, and so many of our students, Patrick Henry Community College is their opportunity to have a new future and to really be a part of the industry that you love so much and that the Campbell family has invested a lifetime in. So this is a special day for us, and we will be good stewards of these resources, and we hope that we have the Racing College of Virginia is at home at Patrick Henry Community College. We just opened a new facility on Thursday, and we hope that sometime you can come and visit that. And this is also, we have just learned, been matched by the Campbell Family Foundation. So is matching this gift from the Speedway. This gives us students a grand opportunity to pursue their dreams. So we thank you and your legacy and what you've done for this community. And Clay, thank you again for your investment in Patrick Henry Community College. We have a little happy for you as we know some things are happening.
That's right.
From Patrick Henry Community College. And so a onesie here with the racingcollege.com. Awesome. So Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for everything in the area.
All right, at this time we will continue with our media availability. Does anybody have any questions for Dale? We'll start with Caleb and then we'll go behind him.
Caleb Whistler, KickingTheTires.net. As the Appreciation Tour comes to a close and you reflect on your career, have you ever considered writing a book to kind of discuss your career?
Oh yeah, I mean, I wrote that book with Jay Gerst, driver number 8, about our first season. A lot of great stories in there, behind the scenes stuff that either doesn't make it into some of the interviews that we do with the media, or things that we think fans would be interested in hearing about. I have interest in writing a book about my recovery and my experiences last year trying to get well, and then coming back and running this final season. And I think it's a bit assuming to think that you just write a book anytime you want or about anything, but I think that would be a good read, and there's a lot of things in there that, again, didn't come up in interviews. There's a little bit of deeper that the story goes I think people be interested in, and it could the interest for me there is if it would help someone going through the same experience that I went through. Other than that, I mean, we'll see what kind of interest there is in that and move forward. There's a lot of little projects that are on the table and topic of discussion in the office amongst our brand team, and that's certainly one of them.
We'll go Lee, Chris, Bob, Zach, Nate.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Can you talk about your experience yesterday with Kim Ilm from the fire? I guess she was part of the fire department at Charlotte, and she even took you for a ride in her truck. If I understand correctly.
Yeah, she's been part of the fire department for over 25 years. She actually retired from where she was at one station, and after the day after she retired, she started working at the fire station at the airport, and she's been there for a while. She's a cancer survivor. Very impressive, strong individual that it was such a privilege to meet. She had no idea. It was a surprise to her, and her co-workers and colleagues helped sort of set it all up. But basically, Goody's put this together in conjunction with Goodyear to give her a set of tires for her vehicle, because apparently she really needed a set. And also, there was a year's supply of goodies donated to the fire station, and they'll disperse that amongst there's several on the grounds around the airport, and they'll use that up pretty good, they said. And she's also going to come to Homestead and enjoy that race weekend with us. So it was a lot of fun. I appreciate Goodies for putting it together and allowing me to meet her. And we did get in one of their they got some older traditional fire trucks that you and I would recognize, but there's some new stuff. There's some vehicles that are about a year old that look like futuristic, like they'd be on the moon somewhere. And we went for a trip around the taxiways in one of those, which was kind of fun because it felt like we weren't supposed to be out there in the first place. But they explained it to me that there had been a rush of planes taking off, and there was a little bit of a downtime to be able to do that. So that was pretty neat. There's a lot of, side note, there's a lot of things going on at the airport, construction, new runway coming in. That place is growing like bonkers. So it's crazy. But those folks there, they were amazing. And, again, Goodies put it all together. So, and, I had to give them credit and appreciation for making that happen.
Does it ever get old seeing the look on people's faces when you show up like that? I mean, that look of surprise from fans.
No, of course not. I mean, that would never get old. You just wonder exactly what their reaction is going to be. Hers was awesome. She gave me a hug and was thrilled about just the opportunity to meet, and So it was great that she was excited about that, because then I knew the benefits and gifts and so forth were going to be exciting for her as well, and her opportunity to go to Homestead. She couldn't believe that. She's like, I'm going to be in the pits. I'm going to get the – I'm like, yeah, we're going to give you the grand tour. And so she was super appreciative, and just considering, you know, her character, it was really impressive how, you know, how considerate or how appreciative she was, because I mean, she's seen and done everything and then some. So it was awesome to meet her. I had more fun meeting her than I think she did meeting me, for sure.
Chris?
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Dale, I don't know if you saw Twitter this week, but Marco Andretti was tweeting this week that he had talked to you and Kelly about possibly running an Xfinity race. Does that have any life? How true of it? And could it happen next year?
Well, we got 4 teams. They're both full, or all 4 are full. So it's probably not got any life. But we are friends, and we've talked about it for 2-3 years. He has some interest in coming over and running some road courses, and so does Ray Hall and a bunch of other guys. I mean, if I had, you know, a field full of race cars, we'd have a blast. All our buddies racing, but it's just hard to do. We're really thankful to be in the position we're in, to have 4 full cars racing for a championship in each one of them. As fun as the All-Star idea and car is, and as many races as we won with Harvick, it's the real goal is to have a team running for the championship, you know. So we're really thrilled now to be in the position we're in. But if we had those opportunities, if we did have those opportunities, that's what would probably end up happening with them. I mean, Fellows, when he runs our car, he comes to us and says, hey, you got a little money. You got an open race somewhere. Awesome, let's do it. That's as simple as that. And so if we did have those opportunities, we certainly would entertain it. And I think it'd be great for the sport to have an Andretti out there running in a stock car, no matter where it's at. It'd be awesome.
We'll go Bob, Zach, Nate, Al, and then Barry.
Bob Parker, ESPN. You talked last week about your career being blessed, and yet there have been down times in your career. The 2001 Daytona 500, your family drama, all public. You've had long slumps, and you've suffered serious injuries. So I'm curious, how did you handle those things, and how do you balance saying you're blessed when you've lived through all that?
Oh, well, you know, I've been able to make a lot of money and live a lifestyle that I never dreamed of, and there's, you know, being able to provide for my family. I met, you know, an incredible woman that I'm married to, and I just feel blessed. I've, you know, just I don't know how else to explain it, but you don't anticipate. You don't. I've never been. Amy believes in law of attraction. Like if you want something to happen, you visualize it and you bring that into your life. And I'm the opposite. So I'm just sitting there going, oh, what's going to happen? You know. Of course, I guess it's because of all those experiences. I'm just assuming there's some big hurdle coming up down the road. Because it always seems to be something. But I think having that mindset of not having expectations and then great things happening to you, you just really, you're overwhelmed, feeling fortunate and blessed. And that's just the way it is for me. But, I waited around a long time to get a lot of things figured out in life as far as my personal life and my professional life, and so I feel lucky that I had enough time and an opportunity, you know, to drive for Rick. There was a few years where, you know, I wouldn't have blamed him if he had let me go or moved on to something else or made a change. To have the opportunity that I did for him to hang on and us to get back to victory lane, I mean, those are blessings, man. I mean, I know not everyone gets that opportunity, and I know that I got to be thankful for that chance to get an opportunity to win again. I didn't know whether I would ever fall in love and get married, and waited a long time to figure that out and how to do that and how to treat somebody the way they need to be treated. I mean, all those things. I just feel lucky to have figured some of these things out early enough in life to enjoy them, and so that's what I mean, I guess.
Zach Albert, NASCAR.com. Dale, when Truex kind of came up into the National Series, he was a teammate to you, and kind of got his start with that. Did back then, did you kind of see this kind of season in him, and what's your relationship been like through all those years?
Oh man, it's been great. We've stayed close. Amy and Sherry have been great friends for a long time. Amy actually worked a little bit in her store, so they were really close and spent a lot of time together, and that kept our bond tight. There was a particular time when I think when Rick was making a change on the 5 car, whether it was before Mark or after Mark, I'm not real sure, but I begged Rick. I was like, I'm telling you, if you get Truex in here, he can do anything any of these other guys at your company are doing, and me, myself included. I think that he's got that kind of talent. You'd be surprised at how well he'll do, and he didn't have the track record or statistics to be in that conversation, but I tried to push him into that conversation, and so I believed in him since the first race we ran together back at Chance 2. And I mean, the way he ran in our cars in those 2 seasons when he won a championship, and knowing the equipment that he's been in his entire career and how he performs in it, and to me, he's always overachieved and always at least gotten everything out of the car that the car was capable of getting, if not more. And so also I think he's had, he had a lot of years there where he could have allowed himself to get frustrated. I think that his ability to remain professional, his ability to be strong-willed and see opportunity down the road, says a lot about his personal character. He is a guy. If you get a chance to go hang out with him, go deer hunting with him, he's a tough person mentally, and so I think that served him really well. I'm not surprised by his success. I think I'm more surprised by the team, how far that team's come. I think that's an incredible story. As hard as it is to come into this sport and create a team out of thin air and be an owner that succeeds amongst the teams that are solidified in this sport, it's so impossible to do that. It's so hard. So much resources and financial resources that have to be poured into it, and I think that team should be commended. I mean, they found an incredible crew chief, and he's done an amazing job building great chemistry, and it's just incredible to watch. But Martin, I wanted Martin. I personally, for me, have pulled for Martin to have this chance and this opportunity, and when he went over there, I thought, this could be the start of something great, and I don't know, I'm not the only one to feel that way, and it's awesome to see. It's hard. It makes it hard for me because I want my teammates to do well. I'm a company man. I want them to win the championship, and here's one of my best friends. Regardless of racing, we're incredibly good pals, and it's hard not to want to see him win it too, But I've loved seeing him win and celebrate his success. They've had such a difficult journey over the last couple of years.
We're going to go Nate, Al, Barry, Ken, Kelly, and we'll end with Caleb.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Dale, kind of a retrospective question going back to the Driver 8 days. That book certainly showed you had like cultural crossover appeal, New York Times bestseller, and it was part of some other things you did back then when you were just starting out in Cup, like the Rolling Stone story by Touré or the men's journal cover, and then you also did some other unconventional stuff like Adidas, Sony, kind of outside the NASCAR norm. Did that stuff, was that by design that you kind of like wanted to get out away from like what might be considered traditional NASCAR coverage, or was it part of that you just felt comfortable doing the first one, just sort of grew from there?
Those things, I had nothing to do with all that. Those things happened because of our relationship, first off with Budweiser, and then Jade Gerst's work ethic and his ability to to get us into those doors and into those conversations with those publications. That happens because of a really dedicated, professional, top-notch PR person that sees opportunity and does it just as much for themselves, if not for the person they're working with. So I have to give Jade just a lot of credit. He was worked really hard to get those opportunities for us, and I was super shy. I mean, when we went, I'm gonna tell you, there's no bigger fear than going to the MTV Music Awards and introducing Linkin Park. I don't think I've experienced fear like that ever since. And for me, it would have been really, if it was up to me, I would have never done those things. I would have said, "Heck no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. That's scary." And he had a knack for trying to help me understand why we should do it. What the response and the repercussions will be from that, the positive, the opportunities that would follow that. He's like, if this happens, then this can happen, and this can happen, and so that was just kind of a perfect storm between being paired with him, having the clout that Budweiser had that could get us into those conversations. So I just being in the right place at the right time, as far as I'm concerned. Because if it was up to me, I would have never done those things. I'd have been like, heck no, I want to just drive. Don't want to. I still am very scared of doing those big hits like music awards and things in front of a lot of people is very challenging for me. But I know now beyond better than I knew then how impactful that is and how much that does for your your recognition and the sport. I mean, I've learned. I never really did it just for me or myself, because I can't sit here and tell you that I know a lot about brand building, and so I rely on Mike Davis and those guys to spell that out and help me understand why we're building a brand and how we do it. Even today, it's still something I don't have a total grasp on, but I know now. I think realizing what it could do for the sport, and trying to be a good representative to the sport, having a great relationship with Helton. I loved making him proud, especially him and Dad were really close. When Dad was killed, I had this I looked at Helton a bit as a father figure at times and would go lean on him, and he would tell me about how well I was doing or that I was representing the sport well. So it pushed me to want to do that more, to make him proud of me, and so that had a lot to do with it too. So I knew when I would go do those things that this would be something that Helton and today O'Donnell and those guys appreciate. And so that has a lot to do with that too. That helps me sort of break through my own personal insecurities to do those things.
Hey, Dale, Al Pierce with Auto Week. I've asked a half a dozen people this question, and I've gotten half a dozen different answers. You are the tiebreaker. on the Sunday night, and I hate to bring this up, but I need to know. On the Sunday night you flew back from Daytona in 2001, you did a very brief live TV deal somewhere.
Yep, that was on the front porch of Mama's house.
That's all I want to know. I've heard everything from DEI to the Daytona airport to
everybody convened at Mama's house, and
Right.
then local news came there and wouldn't leave the porch until they saw somebody.
Right.
So they pushed me
So
out the front door.
Jade Gerst was right.
Yeah.
Everybody else was wrong.
There you
Okay,
go. Yeah.
Grandma's house. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to go Barry, Ken, Kelly.
Barry Richmond, WAKG, Danville, Piedmont Broadcasting Corporation. Dale, I had a chance to ask this of Richard Petty at the end of his career and also with Jeff Gordon, but what is the greatest safety implementation since you've been driving that stands out for you? And then whether that's a process or a physical change, and then the best change to better the competition in Monster Energy Cup Series.
Well, it's tough. I don't know how to better the competition in the sport, other than if we do the right things to get a lot more, to increase corporate involvement, bring in a lot more money, whether it's through corporate involvement or a bigger slice of the pie. from the TV deal, whatever can help the teams, because money buys speed, money buys competition and competitiveness. We have tons of competition. I mean, if you look at the sport from the 50s all the way up to today, every year it seems like there's more and more and more teams capable of winning races. So the competition in my mind is incredibly tough. I don't know that I personally as a driver want it to get harder, but I know it'd be good and healthy for the sport to have 40 top-tier teams out there. The as far as the safety goes, there's so many things that have changed over the years. I think the Hans device, neck restraints, those things have been a blessing. Who knows, how many lives that those things have saved or how many serious injuries that those things have prevented. That, to me, stands out. And I'm sure that there's even more, even as important or maybe more importantly, a lot of protocol as far as how things are handled now and the attention that we now see from the medical field, the medical personnel here at the track after crashes and so forth. A lot of it is really thorough and it needs to be, and it's those changes in protocol I think have been some good advances, and that'll continue to evolve and get better. So, but there's a lot of things. I mean, but those two stand out, I guess. It's hard to say. There's so many. The soft walls. I mean, you get 10 drivers in here, they're going to give you 10 different awesome improvements we've seen on the safety side of it. Yes, sir.
We're going to end with Kelly.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Dale, you posted on Facebook getting out of Rick's helicopter, how you managed to get that in your contract when you signed with him. Can you just explain how you pulled that off and what Rick has meant, not so much as a team owner, but a friend? Yeah, so I went to Rick's. I went to one team owner to talk about driving their car, and they put the it was me and my sister. They put the contract down in front of us, and I saw the money they wanted to pay me, and I told Kelly, I said, I don't want to see any more contracts. So we went to talk to Rick. I went to talk to Rick by myself. We sat down in his office, and he pushed a paper across the table in front of me and said, take a look. And I turned it over, and I said, I don't even want to see it. You and Kelly deal with that. I don't even want to know about all that money. I said, the only two things I want are helicopter rides to Martinsville and painted side skirts. And so back then, getting a painted side skirt was a little more difficult. So, we've had, using being able to use that helicopter just made a lot of things convenient. We used it more so than just to Martinsville. Getting to certain appearances and we flew back and forth to Charlotte to the house 100 times. Those are the two things that I think were important to me that day. And so I thanked him this morning when I was riding. And I said, this is the last ride as your driver, man. I really appreciate all the trips, because there's been countless trips in that thing. And me and him always joke about it being the only thing I cared about when we were sitting down to talk contracts. So that's how that all worked out. He's just a really nice guy, does great by his employees, treats everybody incredibly well. We all know the story about Rick. He's just an amazing person, and he said to me, his response was that he hopes there's a lot more helicopter rides in our future. So we both want to continue to be a part of each other's lives on a personal level, and maybe even on a professional level too. But I'm just thankful for him allowing me to use that helicopter.
All right. Thank you, Dale, for your time.
All right, y'all.
Good luck in tomorrow's first day to 500.
Enjoy the weekend.